Mysteries of the world? Mysteries of the world? Mysteries of the world? Does jet fuel melt steel beams? Did the Nazis once have a train filled with gold? Is the Naruto run a serious threat to the US Army? And is it possible to build the pyramids of Egypt in the 21st century? All of this and much more feature in this video. So hello fellas.
What my Jew?
Oh, motherfucker.
Who was Jack the Ripper?
No, who was Jack the Ripper? We don't know, it could have been anyone.
I have a pretty good theory on this. Now, you've all seen the film Back to the Future, right?
Yes.
Right, well, what if Marty McFly went a little bit too far back in time and realised that he was so out of sync with people in the 1800s that he started going out with prostitutes. Then he accidentally, chokes one to death because it's like weird 80s cocaine sex. His main plan to kind of carry that high on, because he's never taken a life before, he quite likes it. He just goes around and starts snuffing out prostitutes, and then that Doc Brown comes back and pulls him back to the future, and that is the plot to Back to the Future 4.
Police had a bunch of suspects at the time, and I will read some of them to you. Montague John Groot, Seren Klogoski, Aaron Kosmininsky, Michael Ostrog, John Pizer, Thomas Sadler, and Francis Tumblety.
A lot of Polish names in that.
Yeah, there is quite a few of them actually, to be honest. Other suspects later people proposed Prince Albert Victor, I'm assuming some kind of prince somewhere, the Duke of Clarence and Avondale, Lewis Carroll, who I think wrote Alice in Wonderland, someone proposed.
I have a mild curiosity, but it's not enough to actually know what he did other than just going, it's Jack the Ripper, he wears a cape and a hat. And that's pretty much Jack the Ripper for me.
I could give you some insight into some of the victims. We had 5 victims, and I will attempt to read this off as quickly as I can. So you had Marianne Nichols, you had Annie Chapman, you had Elizabeth Stride, you had Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, who historians have labelled as, quote, the canonical 5. Interesting name as. They're obviously London's ladies of the night. I think with Jack the Ripper as well, I think the minute they actually solved who it was, I'd say it was definitely this person. It was at London's East End, pretty much loses like 90% of its tourism as people pay to go on those Jack the Ripper tours going, oh, this person got murdered there, the next person got murdered down this street. So if you come to the gift shop, we could give you a tea towel with all the murdered ladies on it. You're just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, which begs the question, did Jack the Ripper really exist, or was it just made up by people in the East End of London to sell shit?
If I bring up the name Lee Harvey Oswald, what comes to your head?
Hamburger helper. I mean, what?
Well, I mean, it's not the same thing that went to John F. Kennedy's head, but...
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm sorry, was that too soon?
It's sort of on December the 22nd, 1963, former US Marine Lee Harvey Oswald assassinated the then American President John F. Kennedy. So sort of Lee Harvey Oswald himself was murdered by somebody called Jack Ruby, who is an interesting fellow to be fair. Lee Harvey Oswald himself, I think, as far as I'm aware, he got murdered either the next day or the day after Kennedy got shot.
I think it was when he got arrested and they paraded him through in the press. That was when he got shot. You might remember they ripped it off in Batman Begins.
Yeah, so Kennedy got shot on November the 22nd, and Lee Harvey Oswald, Kennedy's murderer, got murdered by Jack Ruby on November the 24th. So sort of, as Mike said, the detectives were escorted sort of Oswald through the basement of sort of Dallas police headquarters towards sort of an armoured car that would take him to sort of a city jail. And at sort of 11:21am, a Dallas nightclub owner, Jack Ruby, approached Oswald from the side of the crowd and shot him in the abdomen at sort of close range. And the shot sort of rang out. It sort of rang out, and a police detective suddenly recognised Ruby and I'm quoting here, exclaimed, "Jack, you son of a bitch." Apparently, the crowd outside the headquarters burst into applause when they heard Oswald had been shot. And there is actually a picture of this.
Yep.
No, I can't see the guy in the blatantly grey or white suit having a gun pointed at him by a dickhead in a hat. and who looks to be Vince McMahon in a cop's outfit in the back.
Yeah, I've seen this picture.
Oh my god, he does.
Oswald's there, obviously getting shot. I think that's the first time ever I've seen someone actually literally photo evidence of somebody getting murdered. Like, what was the trial like for Jack Ruby? Did they just turn up and say, "What's our evidence? We've literally got a picture of you doing it."
This is the weird thing, is he doesn't actually remember doing it, which is why a lot of people claim that he was brainwashed to do it. Yeah, so that was, that kind of adds to all the suspicion about the assassination of it.
What, Lee Harvey Oswald or Jack Ruby?
Jack Ruby. He doesn't remember shooting Lee Harvey Oswald. He doesn't remember any of that day, according to the statements that was written about it. So, yeah, this is why everybody's, kind of going nuts about extra shit. Yeah, it is all kind of nuts. A lot of suspicious shit.
Because we know on the actual day itself, Kennedy and the rest of that sort of crew were in sort of an open-top car going through Dallas, Texas.
No, I'd heard suggestions that Oswald had somehow gotten information about the route of the car a few days beforehand. I've heard. I don't have the evidence on hand to prove this. Probably his connections of being a Marine, it wouldn't have been weird to say, "Oh, I'm part of the Marine detail to protect the president. Can I see the documents that detail the route?" Because it seems awfully fucking convenient. Man probably did some backstage work.
I could give you some more additional information. In September 1964, the Warren Commission concluded that Oswald had apparently acted alone when assassinating Kennedy.
Oh shit!
But within reason, Lee Harvey Oswald wouldn't have been the only one in that crowd who... Was it because during the time when Kennedy got shot, that was it the Cuban Missile Crisis was within reason still within people's recent memories of that, and he probably would have had a lot of enemies around the world who want his head probably on a stick.
Could have been anyone at any time. Didn't necessarily need to be Lee Harvey Oswald. His trusty sniper rifle could have been Scorpion.
Could have been
Kunai.
When they opened sort of the case into Lee Harvey Oswald with apart from JFK Kennedy, it's not as public clear. It's not as sort of clear as they want you to believe it is, because conveniently a bunch of the suspects they tried to call conveniently died a couple of years later in mysterious circumstances, like a convenient car crash that happened when they wanted to, or conveniently get shot, or conveniently decides or X, Y, and Z. So.
It was obviously Agent 47.
Good afternoon, 47. Your destination is Dallas, Texas. Your target is the 35th President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Our client, the shadow client, wants him gone. Kennedy is traveling to Texas to smooth over frictions within the Democratic Party. While in Dallas, he will be traveling in an open-top limousine motorcade through the city with large crowds adorning him. The event will be swarming with security ranging from the local Dallas police to American Secret Service agents. At first glance, an impossible task. Then again, I do know how you love a challenge. I will leave you to prepare.
He did it again.
I second that. Yeah.
He made some
slippery
stupid puns while he
motherfucker.
was doing it too. No, don't worry, I think she'll be hanging around.
We'll see that man with the barcode on the back of his head.
It's convenient he was a bald man at all these deaths.
Sometimes he wears wigs.
My final theory is Lee Harvey Oswald did murder JFK, but there was other people in the crowd to obviously make sure it did happen, otherwise he might have got shot.
It was obviously a attack from a foreign power, because Lee Harvey Oswald obviously was brainwashed and obviously committed to just killing the guy. Everyone else was just additionally brainwashed to make sure the job got done.
I reckon it was Skynet. Instead of going back in time and killing somebody's mom, it missed and just hit the president there. There's a lot of things that are just iffy about it, especially the fact that the bullet somehow managed to curve in the end. But, we'll find out in 15 years when all of the files finally get released, because everybody will be dead who was related to it.
9/11. So obviously the official story is two airline planes crashed into the two different twin towers, and both the planes being the American Flight 11 and the United Airlines Flight 175. And the official story says it was done by the terrorist group Al Qaeda.
Or if you're American, Al Qaeda.
Al Qaeda.
Which inevitably resulted in the Iraq War and the eventual death of Osama bin Laden in 2011. And the terrorist reason for this attack ranged from many things, including the American support of Israel, US troops in Saudi Arabia, and sanctions against Iraq.
Jet fuel that melts steel beams, apparently.
Right, there's too many of them.
Yeah, the basic theory of that one is jet fuel doesn't burn at a high enough temperature to melt steel beams, but the towers literally collapsed. I don't think there's ever been a scenario where there's an actual plane crashing into a building, and buildings that high. I don't think there's actually ever been a test for, hey, will this building remain stable when something crashes into it with that much force?
I always found that conspiracy theory stupid. It's like, if a plane crashes into anything, it's going to have a massive impact. Like, what they expect to happen
you
if a plane
understand,
crashes
that
into...
building is so high up, they have to design them to be able to sustain 100 miles an hour winds. So...
Yeah, but wind is force.
Yeah, wind is obviously a lot different to a massive airline plane crashing into it.
I'm so sorry, did my civil engineering degree get in the way of this concept?
Yes, dare your civil engineering degree. Get out of here with that fucking shit.
Actually, there is another one which says the Twin Towers collapsed because they were claiming it was controlled demolition rather than structural failure due to impact and fire, which I think that one's probably, out of all of the stupid conspiracy theories, that one's probably the most sensible one I've heard.
No.
I mean, if you've got a couple billion lying around, rebuild the building and then launch a plane into it in the middle of nowhere.
It Scorpio with Globex.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is Scorpio. I have the Doomsday device. You have 72 hours to deliver the gold, or you face the consequences. And to prove I'm not bluffing, watch this.
Oh my God, the 59th Street Bridge.
Maybe it just collapsed on its own.
We can't take that chance.
You always say that. I want to take a chance.
Collapsed on its own, You have 72 hours. See you.
He blew up the 79th Street Bridge, then he blew up the Twin Towers, including the theory that it was actually Bush himself who had paid some men from Saudi Arabia and the Middle East to fly the planes instead to give them an excuse to do the war. That was always
it just sounds a bit much.
Yeah,
hey, we want to go to war, let's financially destable our country first.
But it didn't financially destabilise the country though, because the whole point of it was, hey, we can do more, financially by buying a bunch of shit, from the military industrial complex than, just what these buildings would have produced. There's even the theories that, and there's that YouTube clip where it's like, hey, here's this Twin Towers in this picture of some art, and here's what you can do with this art program, and you can remove the Twin Towers.
I don't even think people are aware of how much computer graphics is used today. There's just a whole question now of what is real.
Create a new reality by adding an erupting volcano to the San Francisco skyline. Or remove the World Trade Center from the New York City skyline.
Like they knew it was gonna happen. It's an interesting theory, but false flags aren't exactly unusual.
You know what, let's just shorten this episode a lot. Everything was aliens.
The death of Hitler.
Debatable!
So the official story is Adolf Hitler committed suicide by gunshot on the 30th of April 1945 in his Führer bunker in Berlin. Alongside that, Ava Braun, his wife of literally one day, committed suicide with him by taking cyanide. And according with what he'd apparently written down and sort of verbal instructions, his guards took the remains of both their bodies, doused it in petrol, and burnt it alight just as sort of the Soviets were entering Berlin and bombing it to shit. I think the big conspiracy theory for that is only one person had the eyewitness was a witness of Hitler actually dying, which I think was one of his bodyguards, but I think there's a lot of mystery behind that, and it doesn't help. In sort of Argentina, was it a year later, there was mysteriously a town that suddenly was Germanic for no unknown mysterious reason.
Hitler didn't die. He escaped from Germany with some help from his friends from the Vatican. That Helsinger British reference is going to send me to hell.
That will send you to hell.
I imagine he escaped and then will probably die in his place. Like, I don't imagine Hitler in his mental state at the time would have been likely to surrender. I think he would have escaped and tried to plan another invasion of Europe at some point, you know, in the sort of vein of Napoleon, you know, because he liked to compare himself to great men.
And sort of by this time as well, like, Bab was that sort of mentally ill, physically ill, and was taking that many drugs a day. I don't think he, within reason, could have planned his own escape. If it did manage to escape, it would have been done by somebody a bit less mentally sort of deranged than him.
Well, it would have been
I reckon he went to the moon. That's my theory. He's there in his like disturbingly large cyborg body from Wolfenstein, and he's just, you know, planning his revenge on the whole world. And then he unleashed his revenge on the world and called it Twitter.
No, Hitler wasn't a fan of such indirect methods. Man would just blitzkrieg you to fucking oblivion.
Because there was that other theory of that he escaped on a German U-boat, which I'm not overly convinced about, to be honest. But I can understand where this conspiracy theory comes from, because the fact no body was ever discovered and none of his ashes were ever discovered either, or X, Y, and Z, kind of probably is where this conspiracy theory kind of comes from.
I suppose. Well, there's always that theory. What was that game? Was it Sniper Elite, where you shoot him in the one bollock? But there's also that theory that happened to him.
Man didn't die. Man is still about. Man's obviously cryogenically frozen himself until such time as the world needs the Aryan saviour.
Oh god, I've just had a way more brilliant theory than that. The war's coming to an end, right? He's about to fucking lose, and he's got one friend in America he knows he can count on. So he phones up his old mate Disney, and they swap places.
Oh, okay.
You know, Hitler just grows out the mustache a bit more, and all of a sudden, hi guys, he's a Mickey Mouse. And then, you know, he's like, you need to freeze my head. So, yeah, that's two stories there, fucked up as all hell.
Apparently, after sort of Hitler's death got announced, weirdly, some of these conspiracy theories actually came from the Soviet Union, because I'm assuming they were quite mad that they never found the body, so they're like, yeah, man, escaped. As we're talking about, I think one of the conspiracy theories is that Hitler apparently disguised himself and left Berlin in disguise.
That's a very nice Photoshop you prepared there.
Context for this, I think this is from the US Secret Service in 1944. And I think the theory is if Hitler ever escaped and tried to do a disguise, the one on the left is what they believe Hitler would dress himself as if he was in disguise, which...
It's nice of him to wear the same clothes, makes him still look like the same person.
Yeah, just use... He didn't bother with like new clothes, just went for the dodgy beard.
No, keep the armband on, mate. At least let some of us know who you are.
In fact, this is the US Secret Service that believes if Hitler goes in disguise, this is what he's going to look like. It does look, in the first picture, in the one on the left, it does look like he's going down the rabbi approach, which is interesting considering his party's absolute hatred for the folks.
That's why they hid him on a Jewish fishing boat, because you'd never think to look.
That theory would now make more sense, to be fair.
Especially as I only just made it up.
Hidden in plain sight approach, to be fair. Nobody's going to think about it. If you had to disguise Hitler to make him escape, how would you disguise him?
Shave the mustache. It's the most defining feature. You should make him look like a very normal German man. You change his name to Hans. Oh yeah, Hans. How are you today? Oh, I'm very good.
Make him look like Walt Disney and smuggle him over to Los Angeles.
Oh god.
That's how you make him look like someone else and get rid of and hide him.
I think if it was me, I would go down the approach of what they do in the movies. Actually, that's effectively what the US Secret Service have done. Is their disguise for Hitler would be Hitler in disguise would be glasses and a moustache, or not a ridiculous moustache, which is quite funny.
They could always just teach him how to shave. I bet nobody would recognise him without the tash.
Area 51. So, Area 51, for those that aren't aware, is the United States Air Force base, which is located within the Nevada Test and Training Range, and it's sort of a remote detachment facility administrated by the Edwards Air Force Base, and it's officially called the Homey Airport or Groom Lake. And I think details of what they actually do at the facility is not made by the public, but the US Air Force says that it's sort of an open training range, and it's used to obviously support the development and testing of sort of future aeroplanes and sort of jets that they obviously want to use. And it was sort of, the land was sort of acquired by the US Air Force in sort of 1955, and I think one certain incident did end up making it become sort of global conspiracy theories, because I think what Area 51 is kind of most famous for was sort of the Roswell incident in 1947, where a crash of a flying saucer at a ranch.
I'm sorry, don't you mean weather balloon?
Where sort of it crashed, and then the Roswell Army Air Force issued a press release stating that they'd recovered a flying disc from said ranch, and I think at the time they obviously took whatever this was and took it out straight away before obviously people could comment.
Well, all I know is, because I watched a documentary with my mum about it a couple of weeks back, which was really interesting. Not just because it had Lawrence Fishburne doing the narration stuff, but it was about how all of a sudden 2 days after the so-called crash happens, and loads of officials have said, oh yeah, it was definitely something that we don't know what it was, and then it's all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's a weather balloon. We just closed off the entire of this area to pick up a weather balloon, and spent like, I don't know how long picking up every little piece of whatever material this weather balloon was made of. And I just realised none of you can see me doing the little allegedly fingers while I'm saying weather balloon.
Allegedly!
Yeah, there's a lot of stories about the so-called alleged weather balloon. You know, can't really say what exactly happened there for sure. We just know that there's a lot of butt stuff goes on with Area 51.
I think with it as well, wasn't there that incident before which a bunch of, let's say, bored people decided, was it last year, was it 2019 or last year, where they decided to attempt to storm Area 51?
And the best video of that wasn't the people gathering at Area 51 to try and raid it. It was the kid who did the Naruto run. That was the best thing to come out of that entire weekend.
Back out here live, we will have much more from the tiny community of Rachel, Nevada at 6:30. Reporting live, Joe Bartels, 13 Action News.
I do remember that. It was in the background of some news report outside the base.
But yeah, that kid is unironically my fucking hero.
When I actually went to go do that, there was all those jokes about, oh, I want to go to Area 51 and get myself a nice alien girlfriend, and it's just like...
Have some alien cheaps. That's what I kept seeing everywhere.
I don't know what they're really going to accomplish. Was it their theory was, oh, if we go in numbers, then we'll make it into the base? It's like these people have been paying too much GTA.
What I remember about this is the folks Area 51 had to go to a briefing about weebs. I remember this because it just made me laugh. They had to sit there through an hour and a half briefing on weeb behaviours and why the Naruto run could potentially screw them over, and it didn't, but they had to sit there, and I remember seeing a fantastic picture, and it's just guys sitting on the chair, and he just looks so ticked off, and on the screen all you see is Naruto run.
What the fuck? Someone actually had to do, oh Jesus.
Yeah, they had to sit for an hour and a half briefing.
Oh my god, what the fuck is wrong? I understand they have to cover every angle for security, but Jesus Christ.
They probably, from my understanding, they've been testing the new 6th gen fighter and they've done their first concept flight with the platform. So I'm excited to see America's new 6th gen fighter when that gets released. It's not going to be as good as the Tempest.
I actually think there might be some weight to the whole there's a UFO or some shit, but it's more likely it'll be like a satellite or something from another part of the fucking universe. But like, yeah, I'd be really surprised if there was like a hidden basement room where there's like, you know, fucking aliens in jars and shit. But it is probably like what Brock said, more than likely just a couple of shit, like, you know, they're building stealth jets and shit. Because it is a really good cover. It's a really smart way to say, oh no, that's not that, I heard it was a UFO, and then everyone gets fucking confused, and the person who saw it gets discredited, which is a really effective way to cover shit up.
Bigfoot, who apparently, if you live in North America, that's also referred to as Sasquatch, which prior to the recording of this video I'd never heard that word.
Wookiee costume, and I can't believe people have still fooled by it.
I think Bigfoot had a really nice watch in that one video. Nah, I'm only joking. After watching the people who go hunting Bigfoot, I've come to realise that these people will literally buy anything. So if you want to sell them a bridge from Nigeria, that's your people that you want to go to. Or if you want to tell them about, you know, the millions of Ugandan dollars that you need to transfer, find someone who's into Bigfoot. They'll buy that shit up instantly.
But the whole fact of Bigfoot is what? It's a bloke that's a bit hairy that walks around the forests of North America. As far as I get from what people, or well, not hairy bloke, more quote an ape-like creature.
Nah, the theory is it's meant to be like the missing link between man and ape.
Actually, with this in general, we'll probably come on to this with later ones. I notice how any pictures or evidence of Bigfoot is always taken by conveniently really shaky cameras or cameras in black and white.
You mean Magic Potato?
It's clearly Magic Potato, it's never...
You mean like how anytime someone says a UFO and it's like, where's the really shit camera?
Mom, get the camera!
Yeah, get the camcorder from 2001 with still requires the cassette tapes to play.
Oh my god, it's Bigfoot! Quickly, get that camera off Wish!
Get the most shakiest camera, and then I will talk about it really loudly so people believe I'm seeing it.
Don't forget to breathe heavily into the microphone.
The Loch Ness Monster.
See, what it is it's a log with a Halloween mask taped to it. Yeah, the Loch Ness Monster is an interesting thing because the rumours are, you know, it's just someone's dodgy photo to there is an actual dinosaur living at the bottom of a loch. It's an interesting theory and it just won't go away. It seems to continue to prevail, even though they've done sweeps of the loch repeatedly and never found anything.
It's with the Loch Ness Monster, the most famous picture of it is this blurry photo of all time from the 30s, which was proved later on to be faked because it was, as you mentioned, it was literally a log. And it's with that area, like, if they fully debunked it and said, yeah, this monster doesn't exist, it's a load of rubbish, then that area loses a good bit of tourists because you just get a bunch of nutters going, oh, let's get to Loch Ness to go and see this monster, which doesn't exist.
Those are all fine theories, but I think mine takes the fucking piss the most. I reckon it's William Wallace's dick after it was chopped off. You know, it just came off and then turned into some weird sea creature. And it was like, I'm gonna fuck the English for the rest of my life now. And just every now and then it just pops up in the background of a selfie and then fucks off before they take the picture.
I think, as we said before, if you buy a shit, this which you do want to mention, it's like evidence of this. The only evidence with people claim to have this is either people going, oh, you've seen the Loch Ness Monster, or convenient photos of it, which are convenient blurry photos all the time taken really far away or taken from X, Y, Z angle, or kind of, as we mentioned a bit briefly earlier, that's taken with the worst camera of all time, shaking about, people screaming in the background. The reptilian elite.
Where do you begin with this one? Fucking hell. So some crazy British bloke, I can't remember his fucking name.
David Owens.
Yeah, who, wasn't he a journalist, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, journalist in quotation marks.
Yeah, well, he has a rough theory that anybody who's rich or powerful or a member of a royal family is secretly a reptile in human skin and use the footage from the V series, because that would be fucking awesome. But yeah, apparently we're ruled by reptiles.
In fairness, have you seen Mark Zuckerberg? He does look like one of them, so.
I don't think he's a reptile, he's more something else that's trying to take over.
The rumours that every one of the heads of state of the world are all lizards, including the good old lady of Windsor Castle, Queen Elizabeth II, is a lizard woman. I don't think the lizard person theory really works on the basis of they would have exposed themselves at some point.
Oh, but have you not seen the really bad video of look at the reptile morphing its form, and it's just really low-res recording of a man, like some American Congress committee or some shit. Some people will just believe anything, which is why they should contact me if they want to buy a bridge in Nigeria.
The Nazi gold train. So sort of the theory behind this is during the Second World War, when effectively the Nazis ruled most of Europe, they effectively, anything of value they effectively nicked and put on this big fuck off train and just effectively went around Europe stealing any like portraits, bits of art, gold and all this stuff, blah blah. And I think this theory sort of believes that kind of, I think by about sort of summer of 1944, when the Allies stormed the beaches of Normandy and other beaches on the French coast to go and obviously liberate France, so the Nazis started to shit themselves. When to bury this train.
Doesn't exist. It's been made up by people who want to find the Nazi gold.
There's a chance that it might have existed in one respect. Like, I believe that they would have used it to transport a lot of stolen shit. But, you know, considering how Nazi gold is one of the most fucking illegal things that you can own from that period, because it's made from melted down teeth and shit like that. Yeah, but I do believe that they probably were transporting a lot of stolen stuff by train. I don't think they'd have buried a train though, that's a bit... Cause, like, where the fuck would you hide a train like that?
This was probably the most credible of a bunch of the mysteries that we've spoke about. There is some kind of truth in it, because we can't deny that when the Nazis took over Europe that they effectively just went around stealing stuff. But I think this one's... I think with it as well, because this was in Poland, the theory is. So the Polish government did sort of order, like, I think in 2015 to about 2018, they sort of went around sort of specific tunnels looking for this train, but couldn't find it. So if the Polish government couldn't find it, I would probably take their word that it's probably unlikely to be about.
I mean, the fact that the Polish government actually fell for it, that it might exist, and that there's an actual train buried, it'd make more sense if they'd have chucked it all into a warehouse, and that warehouse probably got found, and that some idiot misheard something in a meeting once and went, oh my god, it's still out there, I'll go find it when I get the chance. And that's probably how it became such a big mystery.
Pyramids of Egypt.
It was always aliens, it was aliens all along.
Do we know how they were built?
Yes, slave labour.
Depends. If you've seen the X-Men films, apparently Apocalypse just magicked that shit together.
What happened was, the Jews were slaves, you know, so they were getting whipped by big lad Pharaoh Ramses.
Yeah, just anyone who was cut off of the lower class and was forced to build them, and obviously many thousands of people built it. But in fairness, it's pretty impressive pyramid. I've never seen it, but the pictures are.
I think my favourite thing about the pyramids is that there was a thing where they realised if you were to use modern building technology nowadays, it'd still take 40,000 years to build just one of them. Although that's probably because of all the health and safety shit.
Yeah. You know, builders are only going to work 4 days a week, and they only want to work for that's about 5 to 6 hours a day. So it would,
and if it rains, oh Jesus.
Oh god, yeah, they won't work then.
If it's a bit cold out, oh, I'm not going.
And then those periods only last 100 years.
If a slight breeze touches somebody's beard, oh, I'm not going. That's too much.
They can't work because they're not wearing the correct high-vis vest, and they don't have the correct PPE for the helmet. They don't.
Oh no, the kettle's broken. Oh, we can't get any work done today.
we're living in the Matrix.
Oh, you mean the simulation theory?
Yes.
Suggests that because we live in a simulated reality, we're just destined to keep doing this over and over again until we get the right results.
Remind me what the definition of insanity is.
Same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yep, that's the one. No, I remember hearing this theory back when I was in secondary school. I was in an RE class and the teacher was talking about how, you know, there are some interpretations of the Bible that apparently claim we're in a simulation, which is kind of fucking terrifying, depending on when those theories were come up with. But yeah, it's been interesting. I think somebody was just high when they came up with it.
Who controls the world?
But no, who controls the world? More like who runs the world is obviously girls.